driving too fast, I'm driving too far. I'd like to change my point of view. I feel so lonely, I'm waiting for you, but nothing ever happens, and I wonder how, I wonder why. Yesterday you told me about the blue, blue sky.
The Tiger tank, the perfect machinery, the beast, the game changer, the destroyer. But was it? Was it really what the German propaganda portrayed it as? Well, to be honest, the Tiger tank is a marvel of German technology and tank building. It also had the perfect combination of attack and defense. But the problem was beyond that. You see, the Tiger tank was a right machine produced for a wrong war. It started the actual service during 1943. At this point, the war has pretty much been turned against the favor of the Axis. Russians are counter-attacking and it's going well. Italy has always been dead and Japan is losing her islands. The problem with the Tiger tank is way more comprehensive. The main problem with the Tiger was that its production required considerable resources in terms of manpower and material, which led it being expensive. The Tiger I costs over twice as much as a Panzer IV and 4 times as much as a Stuka 3 assault gun. They initially used the Maybach HL-20 engine, which was soon replaced by an HL-30 since the former couldn't handle it. Tiger consumed around 500 liters of petrol per 100 kilometers on road, and in any war resources are very scarce. One unit came into the price of $250,000 Reichsmark, about 3 times the price of a Panther, which was pretty similar to the Tiger tank in function and adaptability. Another probable weakness was the result of Nazi propaganda. The Tiger was praised for a kingdom come, and many higher-ranking officers fell for it. As a heavy tank, the Tiger's purpose was a breakthrough tank, but many high-ranking commanders used it in a tactical role when it wasn't its main intended function. The sense of invincibility of the Tiger is also rather unrealistic, promoted by the Hollywood movie Fury. Any American tank with the Firefly update given to them by the Britishers could easily fight a Tiger and even defeat it in favorable circumstances. This, added with the constant transmission and logistical breaks, made the Tiger rather fluxino-nihilipilificated during the war, which is a common problem in every German tank, pre-war, after-war, post-war, and even today. For every single Tiger tank, there were nearly 40 Allied tanks present, but it sure is true that the Tiger tank were super effective and they instilled a sense of fear in the Allies. But the disadvantages far outweigh the advantages in this scenario. The only advantage it had was in Nazi propaganda, which portrayed it as a giant metal beast, invincible and undefeatable. Which wasn't unfortunately true. The Tigers were complex and time-consuming to produce, requiring skilled labor and special parts, which was far cry from the Soviet T-34, which were its main counterpart, which were easy to produce with little skilled labor, dozens if not hundreds rolled out of the factories for a Tiger rolling out of a factory. Granted, the Tiger was a better quality tank, but as Papa Stalin would say, quantity has a quality of its own. The Tiger was a heavy tank, and it was wide. This meant it had trouble crossing bridges, narrow roads, etc. The German even developed watertight hatches and snorkel device to try and curb the issue of crossing waterways. Carrying it on tanks and ships was also a pain because of its size and weight. The Tiger needed 2 heavy recovery vehicles to tow the thing. Just imagine, you are a fearsome tank, but you had a long line of support vehicles following it. Easy target for aerial bombings. Because of the complex machinery, it was virtually impossible to repair it on field if engine broken. Another problem was how prone it was to mud and dirt. The tracks would constantly jam because of the wheel went over each other, making it very prone to mud getting in between and causing it to immobilize. The Tiger had an inadequate upper armor, making it vulnerable to aerial attacks, as seen in the Battle of Kursk. But there were certainly a lot of advantages with the Tiger tanks too. The frontal armor of the Tiger tank was almost impenetrable during the beginning, when the Allies were unready for such an unprecedented attack on their homelands. As seen in the Battle of Africa, that it wasn't easy to defend against the German people. They were battle hardened, they had a history of fighting, and in this, the new era of machinery, new machines tanks were indeed forming a brigade against the Allies. In such situation, presenting a tank like the Tiger tank, a super heavy tank which will literally fight the hell out of the Allies, was a strategic decision to say the least. No known allied tank could do even a bit of a damage from the frontal side to the Tiger tank, no matter how close they stood. After 5 to 6 shots, a hull would be damaged in that scenario, and this was demoralizing for the allied. And the ammo carried by the Tiger tank, though expensive, was way more effective than normal tanks during the 1941 eras used during Operation Barbarossa by the Russians. This was absolutely demoralizing and demeaning to the Allied image, but after properly thinking about the whole situation, they came up with proper counterattacks against the Tiger tank and soon rendered the tank useless. But the most unfortunate thing about this whole thing is that after the war, most of the Tiger tanks were totally scrapped. Their metals were taken out and were melted into something else. Such historically accurate tanks and machinery should have been kept in museums all around the globe to inspire future youths to study history. Only one functioning Tiger tank remains in the British Museum of History, which can be used even till now. The others have been immobilized and most have been lost due to this scrapping policy of the Allies after the war. Do subscribe if you like the content and subscribe for more history videos.